What up, dog? I don't know what time it is. Or do you know what time it is? About to get into a little bit of rap talk. We just brought it all full circle. Come on in. Let's see how I want to do this. There we go. I gotta center myself. Come on in. We're gonna have a little bit of fun tonight. We snowed in the D. I'm liable to be this motherfucker for about 3 hours. Psych again. Biz gonna talk that shit though. Pretty sure the live's gonna have the channel. It's how you reach more people. All that. So come on in and start that ism about the 3 minute mark. Got a couple more of these notifications going on out. Hopefully YouTube on my side, they send out the notifications so people to know that the channel is live right now. They can tune on in and catch a little bit of this rap talk. And the subject for today, we'll talk best West Coast rap albums. Which is plenty, it's a lot. It's a lot of classics out there. We're gonna see where we're gonna take it though. Mm-hmm. See what albums come to mind. What albums we could bring up. I know first off, everybody gonna want to hit the Chronic. Well, not hit the Chronic, but but some of y'all is hitting the Chronic. But I know a lot of people are gonna bring up the Chronic. That's definitely a classic. That's definitely a West Coast classic. Let me make sure I got everything set up, everything I need. Got the mic right here. Got the phone line right here. You can call in live and get on air and speak your piece. It's right here at the top of the chat at 313-523-8135. You can call in and tell me what's your best and favorite West Coast rap albums. I could have been prepared with some notes, but you know how we do on a mental block. Just gonna go down memory lane and just shout off some classics and break down. It's definitely as far as music reactions. There's some albums, it was just the timing. It was just the timing with some of these West Coast albums that made it so classic. Definitely albums like, no disrespect, of course, but albums like that, Warren G, that G Funk. I mean, we know G Funk was definitely an era that was popping off at that time. And that definitely rode the heels of the Chronic and Doggy Style and all that. So that album just took off just because. Like I say, no disrespect to Warren G, of course. But you go back and listen to that album, it's very dated. I mean, Regulate, of course, that sample. What was that? What's my man from the Doobie Brothers? McDonald. I keep forgetting, not in love anymore. Michael McDowell, that's his name. But that sample definitely took the song to the next plateau. But yeah, that definitely rode the heels of just the G-Funk era. Like I say, no disrespect, but it is some West Coast albums that just came on at right time. Time would be a very good factor when it comes to albums. I mean, you pay attention. I mean, the timing could just be so on point for your album to pop off. It all depends sometimes. Depends on what's needed. Depends on what's hot, what's current, what type of slot you fit in, and you feel, what type of void you feel. I mean, when they was on that whole wave of the Chronic, I mean, anybody could have came out. I don't say anybody could have came out, but some of anybody could have came out. Howard Knows 144. What's up? Peace and power. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna talk these albums today. We're talking West Coast albums. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, indeed. At the time, when there's certain albums that come out, if you fit in that time slot and you riding that wave, you can get in real good and you can make your mark. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're still being true to you. So you had, even though the Chronic was right here, Doggy Style right here, you had these other albums that can creep on in, as if I said like the Warren G, well, Mac 10, even though everybody got their own thing going on, but that G-Funk, you got Cocaine, you got Above the Law, when NWA was popping. Above the Law is right here. Of course, they don't get the acclaim as NWA, but they was right there at the same time. And it was on that same Funky Worm, that same wave, that Low Rider, that whole Kid Frost, Cypress Hill. I mean, let's talk West Coast. I mean, they got a bunch. Now, then that's just the old school of the West Coast. Even though if we bring a concurrent to not new, there's still a lot going on over there. But let's just face it, that G-Funk was definitely a force. The gangster rap, just period. With your Ice-T, with your Eazy-E, all that. I mean, it was an era. But on top, if I had to say, which I am talking, my favorite West Coast album is Ice Cube's Death Certificate. That's my favorite. Death Certificate is my favorite. That's the one that took it there for me. I mean, because it was just so complete. So many different styles, even down to the samples, the skits, the whole ordeal of the whole album. Let me bring this down. Let me bring that down. I mean, from the skits, from the samples, the whole funkadelic, it was just so many samples throughout the album, but it still was coming in at the right time. It still was complete. I mean, even on the whole theme of the album, the life side, the death side. I mean, who could just calculate that? And of course, it had arguably one of the greatest diss records on there. You had No Vaseline. When he's going at a whole coast, not a whole coast, but a whole group that he left, which is Ice Cube making a song going off on NWA. So on the thumbnail, of course, I put the Chronic. I was just grabbing a couple albums off top. I was telling my connection is unstable. Well, hopefully I'm still connecting. I hope you can still see me right now. It's a lot going on with the internet and the weather, especially over here in the West. Here we go. We still popping. So I was talking about the couple albums I did put up on the thumbnail. I put the Chronic, I put DJ Quick is the name, which arguably Quick could have had a couple. I actually like Safe and Sound better than I like Quick is the name. But since that was the first album, I just put it up there on the thumbnail. I mean, because Quick is. I heard recently he was talking about he should be up there with Dr. Dre as far as in the conversation when we talk producing, which actually makes for a good argument. I think so because his instrumentation, playing instruments and hearing sounds and putting live bands together, and the fact that he came out around the same time, he should be in that conversation. And the fact that he worked with not just rappers, he worked with R&B people too. He worked with Raffi, Truth Hurts, Lucy Pearl. I mean, he worked with other acts also besides just rappers. And I'm trying to think if he didn't even work with East Coast rappers and not just West, as the same as Dr. Dre did. Maybe even, I won't say more. Yes, he definitely should be in the conversation, I think, also when we speak on producers on a high plateau as of course he's not as successful as a Dr. Dre with the different endeavors and for your name to ring off to be in that conversation. But if you a hip hop head and you a student, you research this game and you dig deep and know some of these songs that been played for years and you know who really was produced it or what's behind some of this stuff, I think you will respect Quick and put him in that conversation. But on the same note, you have so many other producers, West Coast, that could be in the conversation. Like Cole 187 from Above the Law, he's definitely underrated. I mean, it's so many. And of course, y'all, if you see the thumbnail also, I put up E40, which is one of my favorite rappers. So what I did put up in a major way, but 40, he got so many albums. I didn't even know which one to put up in the thumbnail because he got so many albums and classics, I say. I mean, but you have to be a real student of E40. I mean, back in the day, I remember some people that say that he rapped too fast. But like he'll say, like, no, I ain't rapping too fast. Y'all just listening too slow. But it's all give and take on your deal of how you like your music delivered to you though. But I feel he's definitely a force. E40, he got some classes. Who all did I put up on the thumbnail? I put E40. I put NWA. Oh yeah, Straight Outta Compton. I had to put Straight Outta Compton up there. Straight Outta Compton is definitely a West Coast classic. I really can't pick this one best, but I say my favorite. Sometimes the best and favorite is not the same thing. That might sound crazy to some people, but in the conversation, the best is not always maybe your favorite. I mean, if you really want to get real intricate and detailed with it, because the best can probably be, especially as far as sales and impact and other things, more than likely when people go to the West Coast, they probably want to say the Chronic. But as far as a favorite, that'd be Death Certificate on mine, and that's just me. Your favorite can be, it probably could be the same for you, your best and favorite, because success sometimes that same impact don't be as how it might hit you culturally. I mean, these are music terms. When we speaking of music and when we talking, sometimes just because something is real popular, that don't mean that it can have that same impact that it hit you culturally, or vice versa. Just because something that some people from my neighborhood or my city, which is Detroit, might find very moving and very impactful, that still might not be the same as it being successful to where the whole world might think like, okay, well, damn, just because that's a classic, that it touched us that way. That's not the same thing, if you understand where I'm coming from. Because sometimes it could be just them cult classics, like as far as my neighborhood in Detroit, where I grew up at, it's like an album like Above the Law, Uncle Sam's Curse. It's like that album is like a cult classic just for my whole neighborhood and youth and certain years, them years from 90, what's that, like 94 to 97 and here on. That album just sticks out. I'm talking about like a straight up this impact in my neighborhood to where every other car, every Regal Colors or whatever, or any type of car, old school or whatever, or anybody has some sounds, it'll just take you back to a time or people that was getting money or doing whatever they was doing. We thinking like, okay, damn, you had to have that Above the Law Uncle Sam's Curse album or knew about it. Cause like I say, but at the same time, that album, it didn't hit the landmark sales and scale of a Straight Outta Compton or Chronic. So that's why I say things can impact you in different ways. So that's just something to look at. Just breaking it down, talking to you. That, like I told you, hip hop is a powerful tool. Feel free to call in too. I got the number popping off. That's if you catching it live. If you catching the rebroadcast, that's something different. You can just leave your comments down as far as the best albums on the West Coast that you like. Because there's so many we could really bring up if you really think about it. And I bet you as soon as I stop doing this, I bet you as soon as I end the stream and log out or whatever, there's gonna be some albums I'm gonna think of and be like, damn, I didn't even speak on such and such, or I didn't even bring this album up, or I didn't bring that person up. And then I'm gonna be beating myself up in the head. I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I didn't bring that classic up. Not to mention my man Short. Did anybody say Too Short? Nobody said Too Short yet. So we have Too Short. And he have multiple classics. Multiple. And he's West Coast. Now as far as Short, my favorite would have to be, that's a hard one. Because anybody that know me, they know I'm a big Too Short head. So that's gonna be a hard one for me. I have to really just think to myself on that one. Like it'll probably cocktails. It'll be between cocktails and maybe getting it. Those two are my two favorites. Even though it's more that I like and more, and then sometimes it might be some of his other albums that have some of my favorite songs. That's crazy to even break it down like that. But sometimes you can have an album that's completely your favorite album, but it could be that one song or two that beat out all them songs on that album that's on another album that's not even competing with the first album that you like the most. If you give me, because listen, this album can have some good songs on it, and this could be your favorite solid project. I'm talking about an all in all project, like this the shit, like this the one. But it could be that song on this album that just blow that shit out the water. You be like, nigga, this the one. This song here, that's that shit. So that's why when it comes to Short, I got Cocktails. Then I want to say Getting It. But it's some of the other albums that just got some dog ass songs on it that I just fuck with regardless. And I just listen to repeatedly on any given day. And I'm just all into banging them songs. And they're not even on those two albums. So it's different ways to go about it. Because I like some of the albums that I think some people kind of overlooked, especially as far as the Too Short catalog. Cause that You Nasty album, I liked that one. It was some dogs on that album. I think people slept on that one, and that Chase the Cat. Yeah, Chase the Cat. What's my favorite word? Them couple three albums right there. I think people was kind of over. I ain't gonna say overlooking them, but he probably was going through a couple of things. Then plus music was in such a big transition around that time, around them 2000s, because we was converting over to the streaming. Some people was putting money up. Some labels was putting a lot of money up for the promotion. Some wouldn't. Some people were just relying off their name and just going on one or two shows and hoping the album still just do what it do and trying to hold back on the budget and some of the funds because the whole industry was just an array of wondering where the music was going. So you had things and moments like that to where people just had to just figure it out. And I think sometimes that's when some of these albums can just get caught up in the shuffle. But it had to just be if it's somebody that you loyal to as a fan that you still go out and research. But now it's kind of hard to take that gamble. So because actually I think a lot of people still trying to figure it out. I mean, even though it look like streaming ain't going nowhere, but people are still trying to figure it out ways to steady just monetize even more and get more out of it instead of getting these pennies of a penny off of the streams. But the label is getting more than that, of course. Gotta be, cause that's why that shit ain't going nowhere. They getting it because they the ones putting it out. But as far as the artists, when it trickle down, that small percentage that some get. You can't say all because it's something about that that's really eating off streams also if it benefiting them. It gotta be benefiting the ones. It gotta be benefiting someone. That's why the shit ain't going nowhere, and that's why people is steady dropping, and they want to get into it even more to pull more leverage. Once you're a big artist, and they the ones just putting your shit on them platforms, they gonna eat first and then pass it down to you. But if you the one that's straight up uploading it, that's more than likely when you can benefit more, especially if you got your paperwork and everything together and right. So that's how that go. So what else? Who else we got? Who else we got for the West Coast? On the sad, on the sad short, sad 40. Oh, here we got Snoop. We got Doggy Style. Doggy Style, definitely a class. We got Doggy Style. We got Dog Food. Now, that was one of my personal favorites. Corrupt and Dance with the Dog Food album. That's arguably one of my favorites too. Matter of fact, I put that right next to this Death Certificate and this Dog Food. They both like right here, top tier on my list. Those two is like no skips for me. So those two. I think the only song I probably would skip it on Dog Food is maybe what was the last song? I forgot the name of that song. Cause it kind of like end on like on a slower note. Cause the shit's so raw, but then it just end. Is it So Many Styles? I think So Many Styles. That's the last song. But anyway, that Dog Food album is top tier, classic in my book. So we got Doggy Food. I'm talking about Doggy Food. I like a real puppy hound. I'm talking about Doggy Food. We got Doggy Style and we got Dog Food. Doggy Style definitely a classic. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about timing. I mean, that was perfect timing. Look at it. I mean, you had the Chronic right here doing what it's doing, did what it did. So basically, when they was making the Chronic, you could tell. Can I want to say I could be wrong, but you can basically tell. You could tell that when they was working on Doggy Style, they was working on when they was working on no, when they was working on the Chronic, they was working on Doggy Style too. You could tell because the energy was still like in sync. It was kind of like a continuation in a certain extent, to a certain extent. Because like even the sound was sounding the same, not sounding the same, but you can just tell it wasn't like years apart before they, even though it was released that soon, you can tell that around the same time they was cooking the Chronic, it was cooking Doggy Style too, because they were just on. When you in a zone like that, you have to just stay at it. And that's for any artist out there. When you own to some, or even the content creators out there, when you on a road and when you feel like you in a zone and you working towards something and you kind of ticking and you in your creative space, I mean, stay on that. I mean, there was so many things I could have did today to be distracted and not make a video. I don't care how many people watch this video or whatever, but it was still just on me just to still create it because I know what I'm walking towards and just the purpose to do it because I'm knowing in my day, like, okay, it's a snowy day. Like, let me get this done. Let me get this popping. Just because I'm doing this today, that still don't mean the benchmark of what it can tell somebody months from now or a year from now or weeks from now when somebody watched this same video and gain something from it or be entertained by it. Because just because it's today and it's might be minimal like this, that don't mean it could be the same months from now. Because like he tell y'all, cause once that one pop, we own it pop it. That's just how all this shit. That's how all this entertainment shit go. Once you catch that one, you own and you cracking because you can just steady just keep dropping content and you can pull people in and you can have something to build up on, and that's entertainment. I mean, when you first saw that G Thang video, you didn't know what the bomb meant. If I shouldn't be saying that word, but you know what I'm saying when Dr. Dre and the Chronic say, "Oh, I heard the new album, Mr. Bomb." You looking like the beat. Why? What they mean by? I mean, I'm saying that word, but I don't know how YouTube they be hearing words and might think I'm. No, I'm not talking about that. It's back in the days, the term when something was real good. People used to say it's the bomb diggity, but you know what I'm saying. People would say it's the that word. So anytime something was real good, I remember that video. I just remember seeing that girl walk through the room like, yeah, I heard the new album. And yeah, it's the. We was like, what she mean? It's the B word. So you looking at it like, okay, well, dang, that's the new word. And next thing you know, for the next 5 to 10 years, it's something good. It's the B. Like, oh, that's that food. I heard that food, the B. You know, I mean, I'm saying the B, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But and I'm saying that to say it was new. I mean, don't be scared of new, or don't be scared to put your slang, your talk, your whatever, your twist on. Don't be scared to introduce what you got to the world. Because once it take off and move, that's influence. I mean, all of this is influence. Content creators, people of music, people of any type of influence. I mean, that's it's entertainment, but it's a force, and that's what the music did since day one. I mean, we still talk and look to the West Coast for classics, or we wonder who gonna be that one. Like how Kendrick is carrying on the torch, and he's still, I gonna say, in the shadows of some of these people I named. He is in the shadow, but yet he's still at the forefront of all. He's at the even though he's at the forefront of West Coast music right now here today in 2023. But he's still standing in the shadows of all these people I didn't brought up and named. He's like on a family tree. If you think about it, he's on the NWA family tree, coming from Dr. Dre, that whole lineage, that whole. I mean, if you was to make a tree, he's going to be right there amongst the Dr. Dre, just coming on down to the Kendrick, and he didn't had MC. Oh, I didn't bring up MCA. I didn't bring up Compton's Most Wanted. They got a classic too, with that MCA featuring. Well, both of them classic. That Music to Drive By and that We Come Strapped. Even though that We Come Strapped album is considered to be MCA featuring Compton's Most Wanted. But what I was saying is, Kendrick paid respect. He had MC8 on his album, stuff like that. He was showing, or he'll bring up E40 name and songs and stuff like that. He lets you know what he grew up on. So like I said, he come from that tree with NWA and Dr. Dre. But yeah, let me scoot on over to MC8 and CMW. So we got Music Drive By. That's a classic West Coast album. In my book, that definitely was banging that N Too Deep. All that. Man, what else was on there, man? Classics. Him and Face. That's classic. And I always like that album cover too. It's crazy how you just looking down the side of the drop top, and you see him. You see him riding, and he even still got the CD cover right there in the seat. So that was definitely classic. But I also always liked the We Come Strapped album. That's one of my top five West Coast albums too. I say I'll put that on my list for top five because the whole and I think MCA need more credit for this too. I think he needs some more credit because the way he merged the way he merged gangster rap with jazz like that. I mean, it was unheard of. It wasn't going like that. Don't get me wrong. You did have your Quicks and people like that coming with different, live instrumentations and all that. But I want to say that album even came out before that. Safe and Sound. I'm pretty sure it did. Because Safe and Sound had Dollars and Cents on it. So that was after, yeah. So We Come Strap was like about 94. I remember, 93, 94. Somewhere up in there. So just imagine a gangster rapper, with that word gangster rapper. They was throwing that around, reality rap. It's coming from the streets, just raw energy, raw rap, coming over jazz beats, just coming over that Isaac Hayes, coming over all them different instruments and sound, that piano. Eight been on that. I think he deserved more credit. I mean, that was just sound, just that whole merge. I mean, even though you did have other rappers like over on the East Coast when Guru from Gangstar was doing the Jasmine tags, I think that even was after eight. If it wasn't after, it was like close enough. But eight still deserved his credit because, of course, he rapped totally different from Guru, and Guru he cold too. We can say that for an East Coast show when I bring up the East Coast albums and his name get thrown up in there. But you did have the Jazzmatazz albums and Guru doing his thing with the jazz. But you had eight over here just kicking up storyteller street. It's that whole street game and doing it his way. But it's still with this overlaid back ass beats and just the whole instrumentation of just that calmness. Just raw as calmness, but it's still street shit. I mean that's credit. I mean somebody send us to eight, let him know, man. He deserves more credit. I mean, and see that's what I hate about this game. I don't say I hate about this game, but it's like certain people in this industry and in this game, unfortunately, it's going to take for something to happen to them when all this stuff that I'm talking about now get brought up. You understand? It's going to take for MC8 to pass away for people to give him his just due like that. It's going to take for us to lose a Scarface to where people really, really think about how thought provoking, how deep his words and rhymes was, and his whole presence. And it's so many people. It's a list. There's so many people that's gonna pass away, and then they're gonna have these conversations and want to give them credit for certain things that should have been known and talked about. You know, but I understand it could get biased, and some people don't well, I can't say they don't speak up for themselves, but some people just move on, and I get that. I mean, because you could be that type of individual that just be like, okay, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. If y'all see the history, if y'all see the game, and you feel free to give it to me. Some artists feel like, okay, well, give it to me. But legends, some legends, they really have to speak for that shit. They really have to get out there and let it be known certain things. That's why sometimes, even on the social, they have to remind these people, like, okay, because some of these beats and shit, people be grooving to y'all don't even be knowing that the whole shit be a flip or a sample of somebody else's whole idea who jammed on it first and already took it somewhere else. But this person here might get the credit today, which is still good because it's still keeping that person's legacies moving and living on. But sometimes people don't know that in between gap, and that's what be missing sometimes. Because with the whole history of just the hip hop tree, it's just so many people you can just name that just can deserve so much credit. That's why if I had you to call in and remind me, you can have me on my toes and I could be thinking about the people that I ain't even thought of and the conversation could just flow even more. But see, I gotta just go off the ram and just talk this shit here solo. It is what it is. We're gonna get through this shit. But this shit happened to me too though. Cause I'm showing I can just carry a whole show just by talking shit right here by myself. Even though I don't want it to be like this, it is what it is. But if I'm the one that can put it out here like this and say, okay, this is the show. Well, I ain't gonna say this is the show, but this is the topic. And if ain't nobody called in yet, I had to just think, okay, well, I gotta talk. I gotta be the show. But the show is not for the conversation of other people. This is for people to get to know one another or speak and discuss. But it's still cool though because after the live is over, if when people watch it on the back end or watch the playback, they can be influenced to maybe watch the next show or the next show or whatever. Or they can be like, damn, I could have caught a comment and could have called in and commented on this or that. It's still to be seen, so it is what it is. That's what anything was about. Have to keep doing it. That's that part of never been afraid to dream. I didn't do no poem for y'all. Should I do a poem? Matter of fact, I'm gonna do me and my music. I gotta throw at least one poem up in here. Shit, you nuts? Shit, this is what I do. I gotta throw at least one poem up in here. West Coast classics and these different albums. I got this one poem I wrote called "Music and Me." This was short and simple. I wrote this one years ago. Actually, I wrote this so long ago. I noticed one of the words is allhiphop.com. That was like a real popular site. That's when everybody was kind of jumping to the internet because I was kind of going on there and catching a lot of information. Because that's when I ain't gonna say people would stop reading Source and Double XL in certain magazines, but that's when a lot of the articles and interviews and stuff started sneaking to the internet. So it used to be a site. I don't know if it's still active. Well, allhiphop.com. I remember I used to when I was first messing around with the computer a little bit. I used to go to that site and catch up on some information. If I didn't read it in the Source or the Double XL, Vibe, and all the different books, man, I used to collect all them joints. I used to collect all of them. I ain't gonna even lie. I used to be that one. I used to be that one going to buy them. Going to buy them. I was buying the double X. I used to even have subscriptions because I used to go to the store. When I go to the store and I see them sitting there, I'm getting it. Double XL, Source, and Vibe. It's just so many. It's crazy how Vibe was. That shit was watered down. Even this thought of it, but they tried. I can't forget we had Murder Dog too. Murder Dog. There's a couple of other. What 4080? Album 4080. Man, I was on all that shit. I used to be inclined. I used to be reading them joints, reading them, bam. And it's crazy how they was trying to keep us to be updated with stuff. And that's how you know. Look, let's think about this. All right, my mind going. Now, see, that's how you know that all this shit was like structured to be at certain times, or everybody was in cahoots. If you think about that shit now in hindsight, because look, I'm about to break it down to you. Listen to me. Because listen, if you think about it, you had print media, you had your magazines. First of all, it's gonna take at least, let's say, give or take a month before it even come out. So all the while they doing these interviews, they going to these people's cities, places they traveling, they meeting up for the article that's gonna come out that's gonna come out in the magazine. What I'm saying is the shit don't come out as quick as it do now. I can't just talk right now. I mean, back then you couldn't just talk right now and just come right out a couple seconds later and be like, okay, well, here's the whole interview. So they had to do the interview. Obviously, they already knew the album was about to come out because they going to interview them. So the record label already lined that up because they know, like, okay, well, the June issue is gonna come out. Well, the June issue coming out in June, but we got to work on it in May. So that record label got to already know and be in cahoots with that album, with that magazine publisher to know that, okay, such and such album is coming out in June, so we got to get with them a month ahead. Basically, what I'm trying to say is everybody had everybody inclined because for your rollout to happen in sequence, since media wasn't coming out as quick and as fast as it is now, which was months ahead, everybody had to have all that stuff already scheduled. That's really what I'm trying to say. Ooh, I'm glad I got to that. Say that thinking about it. But that's some deep shit though, if you think about it though. I mean, if you really go back and think about it though, everybody had to be inclined working with each other on a page and one accord to line all that stuff up. So to where your shit, the timing don't be off. And then not to mention who had the cover of the magazine. Just imagine that infamous Vibe cover that had Suge, Pac, Snoop, and Dre. Remember they was, with the whole mob look with the black and I just had the faces on there. Everybody remember that infamous everybody remember that, I keep wanting to say album cover, but that magazine cover. I mean that picture was just so, it was like dramatic and raw. So just imagine all the people, whatever month issue that was, just imagine all the different artists or people that made it inside that magazine. Because that's why Jay-Z say that one line, if you remember, he be like, rap mags want to use my black ass so advertisers can give them more cash for ads, fuckers. That was some deep shit. I hope it didn't fly over some people's heads, but what he was saying, it's like sometimes, like people like us, the people who was the consumers, if we saw a certain person on that cover of that magazine, the sales is gonna be real quick because it's a hot artist. If you see Jay-Z on the cover of it, or you know that he gonna be on the cover of the July issue, and you know you got a interview coming up, more than likely you're gonna want to be in that July issue that's about to come out with Jay-Z on the cover. Because when everybody go out or when walking through the aisles at the grocery store and they see it and they just say, oh, that's Jay-Z, and they pick it up and they take it home, and you got an interview inside that magazine on page 38, whether it's small or big, you got the big opportunity to be seen and heard, all because of just ongoing lookers. It's just they saw Jay-Z on the cover. That's the business. That's why he was saying, like, these rap magazines, they want to use me because they can charge up higher for the ads. They can charge up. You want a page to show that your album about to come out. Oh, yo, we can charge whatever. Shit, we already know this mag right here for this month. That shit gonna be through the roof. But kind of drifted off a little bit, but we still talking music and business and just incline rap. That's rap talk. It's still all rap talk. But yeah, definitely put in the comments the albums that you like, or what albums you think was the best on the West. Best on the West. Like, we rap. I can't. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna do a poem. Hey, I'm talking on that shit like I'm about to leave y'all. I ain't about to leave y'all. I don't wanna leave, but I gotta go right now. I'm about to do a poem for you. It's a piece I wrote called Music in Me. Matter of fact, it's in the book. You can go download this one. Download it straight to your phone. All right, listen to me. Oh yeah, see, this one deep in the rap. I can see that already. I zone out to the rhythms of Roy Ayers. The sounds take me to a place where I feel free. You see, sometimes Stevie's story come across so real, I believe that he can see. If you can read these words, you can learn my pain. Sometimes sad, I find wet wisdom as I listen to Purple Rain. Trying to get out of love again, I relax to Al Green, or maybe Too Short again. I love this outlet. You see, music is my friend. I use headphones sometimes for better concentration, to tune out the troubles of the world. AllHipHop.com and Rap Talk TV got me neglecting my girl. And when I get on my Pac shit, nigga, you better watch it. From Thug Life to Still I Rise had me on some block shit. But when I'm getting drunk and want to hear some game spitting, I listen to E40 from the Bay and sprinkle it all through the mitten. Music, please don't break my heart. Please don't break my heart. Get me away from all this bullshit. And then bring back the spark. Me and my music. Rap Talk. That's that poem piece. That's that poem piece. That's that poem piece. Did you get it, capiche? Feel free to comment. Feel free to let me know what albums on the West Coast you feel is classic. The ones that's best, the ones that stuck to you, the ones you will never forget, the ones that was the soundtrack to your childhood or youth or whatever. See, I'm taking off everything. I'm getting raw. Had to take off the hat, glasses. I ain't gonna take off the shirt. Don't get too happy. But indeed, appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking out with me. It's all a journey. I keep telling y'all, everything is a journey. Just imagine if I never started, if I never ever did the first episode, or if I never made that first poem, if I never put that first poem out to be judged or put on YouTube so the world can see and watch it anytime and judge it for good or bad. That's a chance you take when you create. I just want to let you know that, because I'm pretty sure it could be somebody out there that doubt they self, or that think to they self what they can do to accomplish something without doing it. It might sound crazy, but you'll be surprised how many people think something gonna happen for them and they don't even work for it. Some people just be so content with having it in their mind, they don't even want to work for it. Yeah, that is possible. And I can speak on them things because I remember enduring those type of things and having to challenge myself and having to just understand that it takes work, that it takes no's, it takes lessons, it takes mistakes, it takes baby steps, it takes learning. It takes 5 people before it takes 5 million. I mean, who want to be patient for that? In a world where everything moving so fast paced, who want to be patient and really, you know? But these are the moments you have to appreciate. And all that shit I'm saying, I'm saying it to myself because I just know these are those moments you have to really appreciate. These are things that are preparing for a whole view of millions. A conversation. Just had to sit here. I might come in the room or come on YouTube today with the intentions of, oh yeah, let's go back to back. Ooh, callers, yeah, they're gonna call, boom, I can talk to this person, yeah, we tackle fly black, boom, I can counter this person when they say this, or they can bring this up and I can bring this up. Here it is, your man had to get through a whole hour just making the whole show flow. Still get a point across, still no constant dead air. I have to pat myself on the fucking back. That's confidence. Because I still know that this still prepares for something else. That's how you have to look at things. That's why I'm converting. That's why I'm sharing this with you. Because once you start your journey, whatever it is, that business or that thing that you want to do and get going, you might have that day when the restaurant or when the clothes store open or the gas station you'd open up. The door's been open all day and only 5 people that walk through there. Or the barber shop when they don't know if they can trust your haircuts or not. But they saw the sign that said barbershop on the door and it was in their neighborhood. So they walked up there and gave you a try. But guess what though? And guess what though too? Guess what else? That business or whatever it is, whatever have you that's right there. Every time somebody walk by it or drive by it, they still gonna see it's right there. They still gonna see it. Why you think every business that can afford it, they have a sign up? That's an investment in yourself. Every business, whether you go in there and you drive, you see. Imagine how many billboards you just seen today, subconsciously, that might not kick in today, But every day you get off work, you ride down that certain street, you see that damn Taco Bell sign come up on that billboard. You might not do it today, but a couple days from now, you gonna be like, you ain't gonna even know why, but you'll be like, you know what? I got a taste for some Taco Bell. You would be like, damn, I just got a taste for some Taco Bell. And you ain't gonna even understand that it came from that. It came from that sub advertising of just seeing it every day, day by day. And that's how this whole entertainment thing gonna work. Whether you click on it or not, the world gonna see. It was a rap talk video up. And on that note, get with y'all in a minute. Never be afraid to dream. Rap talk.